Hey there, folks, and welcome back to another episode of the Evening Goose. Once again, I'm your host, Andrew Ginsberg. I'm a former tech employee turned stand-up comedian, and now I spend all my time diving into the latest and greatest stories in AI, technology, space, and beyond. Today, we're talking about floating metal spheres that appear out of nowhere. More specifically, the Buga Sphere, a strange silver orb filmed over Colombia that looks like it came from a sci-fi movie or an alien Home Depot. Now, before we dive into this story about the Buga Sphere, I do want to say I have a personal anecdote about spheres. All right, so just hear me out. When I was about 10 years old, I was walking around the suburban neighborhood that I grew up in with my friend Brendan. We were probably checking out our Tamagotchis, talking about juice, whatever you do when you're 10 years old, right? And we're walking around our neighborhood, and I remember it clear as day, as if it happened yesterday. Right above us, there was two small metallic spheres rotating around each other, hovering over us kids. And we looked up at them. They weren't making any noise. They didn't seem to have any kind of propulsion. They were just two kind of silver balls floating around in the sky. They floated above us. We saw them, and then they took off. And those silver balls have always appeared in my dreams. I remember that memory like it was yesterday. So it's just, to me, this is something that I've experienced myself. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it means. It could have been literally anything. Maybe it was a government created mystery drone bird here to spread disease across the planet. I don't know what it was, okay? It's just something I remember from when I was a kid. But I do have a personal connection to these types of spheres. So when I heard this story about the Buga Sphere, I was pretty interested. And I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna make an Evening Goose about that. Okay, back to the point, let's talk about the Buga Sphere. The Buga Sphere is a small metallic orb captured on video by the Colombian military in what appears to be 2013. It resurfaced this year thanks to a leak, and now it appears to be one of the clearest, most compelling UAP clips in circulation. It's about the size of a basketball, totally smooth, hovering in place, no rotors, no visible propulsion. But what really makes it strange are the markings on top. Zoom into the footage and you'll see some faint symbols etched on the surface. Now, do they look a little bit like the Dharma Initiative logo in Lost? Yes, you can see here a spiral pattern or some blocky writings and glyphs. The spiral pattern actually reminds me of the Nazca lines. We can do another Evening Goose about that someday. I put some of these markings into ChatGPT and asked them to translate it for me. ChatGPT said, this is a circuit board. It also said something about the betterment of human consciousness. So I don't know, ChatGPT can make mistakes, but that's pretty strange. The point of this, though, is it's not just a tiny sphere. It looks like it was manufactured, like deliberately designed, like a drone or a probe or a warning. Folks, let's get into it. Once the footage of this orb leaked to journalist Jeremy Corbell, the news spread fast. And it's easy to see why. This thing totally matches what US intelligence officials are referring to as orb-class UAPs. This is a whole category of floating metallic spheres spotted all over the world, especially around military sites. These orbs show no signs of propulsion, make no sounds, and defy radar tracking. They just appear, float around, look at some 10-year-old kids, float over them, freak them out, and then just disappear. The Buga Sphere is particularly compelling because it's the only UAP footage I've seen recently where it's not like glitchy or blotchy or hard to see. It's very clear, very detailed. And those markings, that spiral, come on, man. You don't get that from the wind or plasma. So what is it? Let's break down the current theories. Some people who aren't like us, they think it's a foreign surveillance drone. Maybe it's some advanced tech that China or Russia has. Nobody knows. Doesn't explain the weird spy release. But most drones have things like, I don't know, wings, propellers. None of them are known to hover silently over Colombian airspace covered in spirals, to my knowledge. Another theory, it's just natural phenomena. Ball lightning gets thrown around a lot, but again, lightning doesn't come with etchings or spiral designs. If it's a cloud formation, it's got a really good branding department. Of course, there's always the theory that it's some sort of secret military craft. Could it be a US surveillance tech? A black budget probe? Sure. But if that's true, why are they having it float around Buga, Colombia? And of course, my favorite theory, the one for us, the crackheads on the internet, it's of non-human origin, baby. But if this object is designed, intentional, and not behaving like something we've built, it opens up the door to a lot of freaky questions. So, why does this matter? The Buga Sphere fits a pattern. Silver orbs like this have been reported for decades by pilots, civilians, and 10-year-old kids walking around their neighborhood. And now we're seeing one in detail. Spiral markings, unknown writing, hovering with no real explanation. And if they're real, and by the way, the government is saying this is real, the bigger question is, who made them and why? So what is the Buga Sphere? A drone? A probe? A floating message written in a language we don't understand? I'll start binging Lost and see if I could figure it out. I don't know what I saw when I was 10, and I don't know what we're seeing now, but I do tell you this, somebody knows something and they ain't telling us, baby. Do you have a theory about this thing? Drop it in the comments. And folks, if you enjoyed this summary, please like, subscribe, support the channel. I love you. See you next time, folks. Let's stay on this one.